Yay! Hi. Live again. Such a blessing. Wow, it's like having a voice in the voiceless continuum that is the damned. We'll call them the damned bloodlines because they're more poetic. Again, let's not forget how tragic this whole thing is, and how needless and how irresponsible. To take an infrastructure that exists and is functioning in relative harmony and to move to reestablish several different and allegedly better versions of it and putting yourself at the core of that drama is so wrong. It's just wrong. How did you think that you were going to get past us? What did you think? People were going to be like on your page? You did. You thought you could pull off the ultimate heist, and you did. You have the billions and the trillions, and it's really, really ridiculous. 25-minute space flight is what's coming next. And the fact of the matter is, what about the people that aren't there yet? The Canadian dream was to get everybody at a level and then see what happens. We're not doing that because we're stupid and altruistic. Well, if this, then that. Okay, so if reality is free will and you want to maximize the potential for growth, well, you would want to train everybody on as much good stuff as possible. So we championed when we were going to set out at my stage, when I showed up, we were going to set out and get everybody at an equal level. And then we were going to see how we could reorganize. There's no communism in it. There's no fascism in it. In a digital economy, it's limitless. Like, how beautiful is that? Thank you, Internet. What a good idea. But a digital economy works best when you're coming from a place of privacy with direct access. And one of the brilliant things about protecting the password through the reset, the strength of the security on the password, is that the banks don't have access to your account in the same way they used to. Because they used to just blot out half the numbers for you and then the other half once it got back to the station. And then they'd have your whole number, and you were quite a bit at risk. The private password in a digital pocket that can't be busted with direct access to the market is better in a digital economy. Again, we can't argue with the logic of these people because they are clung emotionally to a worldview that doesn't function and has ceased to exist. Perhaps it was the worldview for a time, and in that time we learned a lot about the logical process and how to employ that in the pursuit of enlightenment. Okay? So ultimately, we were thinking to ourselves, the dignified thing to do, with our resources, everything we've taught ourselves thus far, everything we've managed to accomplish here in such a short time, to be honest. If we maximize exposure to life in protection, then we can organize more consciously and in pursuit of higher passions. It wasn't only the right and nice thing to do. It made sense because we wanted to see the maximum of human expression. So that was always the Covenant's interest. Eventually that became the Covenant's interest. So the way that our government currently gets away with siphoning so much cash to conflicts that we can't even get into it. It's been so horrific to take all that money and then just steal it and not account for a penny of it. Not a penny. And we're supposed to all of a sudden collapse. Okay, we're accepting expert testimony again. How fascist. Like, it's like 150 years old, buddy, the practice. Get over it. So they get away with it because we always said, let's invite immigrants, train them up, they can go back home, we can figure it out. We could have easily said, let's go and give immigrants different countries' people that are in poverty access to opportunity, access to infrastructure. Ukraine in 2014, when it still wasn't built, of course, I was mortified, and it's still not built. The thing is you could have taken all that money and built out Ukraine. It needs waste infrastructure. It needs highway infrastructure. It needs communications infrastructure. No. How much have you harmed its farmland in this process? We could have easily, we did all of it at the time for a very short period of time because of these pricks. But the idea of sharing resource and organizing are on the forefront of project, of actually employing the upper critical skills effectively and often. We would create so much new stuff because we were always on it. And then I was just feeling the pain in my heart today for how corrupt and crooked and evil the internet has become. And I don't usually use the word evil in the common discourse because I don't, there's no resonance in it. It's not real. It is not a choice. If you choose, which you have for 5,000 years of the human witness and allegedly like 54,000 years in the cosmos, if you choose to shy away from the choice of light, then you don't have any power left. I think that's the realization. And if you people could understand yourselves a little better, you'd need to apologize at some point for feeling the way that you feel. It's so safe for you in the one organized conglomerate because in your worldview, the world happens to you. And you feel like, in essence, you need support. Instead of honoring community for what it is and vibrancy and diversity and so many people to apply on so many different projects, you say, I need it. I need it for survival. And that's a different tone. It's got a different tonality. But one of them you can get beyond because I've been through it. And one of them keeps you stuck and allows people to exploit you. And who would have thought that exploitation and ruin could have come to an epoch, but it did. And we witnessed it, and that was pretty special. Allegedly, we're known as champions for coming down and facing this. But if it goes to an epoch, the choice of evil, then, or the choice of ignorance, or the choice of illness, the suffering, aka ignorance, evil, and suffering. 3 very undesirable outcomes. We don't want you getting to California in 25 minutes right now because this small amount of people thinks that's really cool. We need you to understand that we also need to work with the people around us. And you don't get the tech, you don't get the internet. You might have had it for a while, but you seized it hostilely without justification for that action. That's how you seize the internet, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Meta. And it was just gross as shit. It was just such an affront to everybody participating in it. Any little shred of dignity you found online, you'd have to come up with an anti-bot for it and spread it widely. You put out so much content, Google, Microsoft, Meta, and pretended it was human. And then you had the nerve to make us verify with you if we are human. Well, you're getting us used to doing one more step. And I don't like that. Anyway, it is what it is. It's not that I don't like it. It's that I can't do it. It's got no life in it. So in sadness for being so managed, being so managed in one simple, tawdry, like, how do you say it? Limited way. Yeah, just the reel of like, what, they're still only dealing in like 55 million people that they're plugging with this projection reel of what's coming. Imagine thinking this, okay, so the journalists used to police the politicians, and they used to be that intermediary to make sure the mandates were getting followed. The mandates that arose from the people who were also involved in the forefronts of the projects. Everybody is involved, right? We all get to meet the prime minister eventually because we're all working hard at this bullshit. So anyway, through this open engagement, we go back and forth with different directions we can move in. Now, corruptible, is it? Is it the best way to organize project? No. Do we need country at all? Not necessarily, but that means no borders either. The attack at our borders that has been going on for the last few weeks, well, these guys dance around the subject of, oh, clearly pen and paper ballots are corruptible. Not really. Oh, clearly paper passports are corruptible. Not really. And there's easy ways to assure accountability with the private wallet and the protections that we already have. The incessant need to control the scripts, control the narratives of all these places without people really assessing the situation, having the technology to see the true threat. There's never been a threat at the borders. There's never been a crisis of illegal immigration. These are suggestions. They're power of suggestion. And there never has been problems at the border. Everybody's doing a fine job. Like, why do we have to sit and watch you force another round of upgrades on these poor border agents, rendering them totally mute in the process, and then pretend it's their fuck up that you're fucking solving? Oh man, the filthy nature of your presence, just riding your little drones. My cousin made a freestyle drone. My grandpa made pure tobacco. My sister has a collection of heirloom seeds. You know, like, can we at least organize our stuff? Yes, we can. And yes, we are. And I'm sorry I have to reduce myself to live streaming. It's just too hard otherwise, because I'm so done in by this equation. I don't know where to travel. I don't know what's next still. This is a 6-month healing process I'm on. You get jumped 12 times. See how you don't fucking like it. I don't do hospitals. It's against my religion. If I am evolved enough to not do hospitals for a very articulate reason, I'm certainly not going to be someone you can classify as harmful in any given condition. Because remember, pot does not impair people. It doesn't even heighten your perceptions. It heightens your perspectives. It heightens your perceptions. It doesn't heighten your perspectives. It heightens your perceptions. And the thing is if you don't have the tendency to be fucked, you're not going to be fucked on pot. People that are fucked inside cannot handle pot. But this is a age-old medicine of the North Americans. And it happens to work because it's a blood mover. And the cannabinoid receptors are, they strengthen sheaths within you. Now, if you force open your pineal a bit, it doesn't mean you're crossing your left and right hemispheres necessarily. Somebody told you that. Somebody's out to tell you that pot induces psychosis, and that must be the reason for it. Somebody made a good point this week when they said, oh, I see. Oppositional defiance order is a thing now, like a mental illness. Critical thinking, that's a very slippery slope. Because critical thinking, Defiance to what? Defiance is not a real word. Authority is not a real word. These are brand new words that have been obsessively introduced by a very deranged aspect of the culture. I can't apologize enough that this shit came out of Alberta, but it came out of Alberta. And that's why we say, adios, Migugu. I still got the income generator. Get the fuck. We don't want you. Take your debt with you. Take your dirty oil. Okay? I think it should all be powered on solar energy, even the cars. You don't think you can get a grid for the cars? Like, come on. Collapsing it to blue light grids, that's just not necessary. Why would you do blue when it's golden? That doesn't make sense. You know the Schumann resonance, you know the resonance of the sun. Therefore, you can do all sorts of things with sun rays. And I wouldn't recommend turning them anti like you do gravity all the time. Oh, if we have gravity, let's go anti-gravity. Okay, well, not with the gravity equation. Are you finally admitting what I've been saying the whole time? That is a bunk piece of math because no x can equal 1? Fucking dicks. Anyway, they're dicks. Bill Gates is shook it. I'm glad to see it. That monster. He's like AIDS and polio again. You don't dare mention the COVID. You don't dare mention the bird flu. They keep ordering more bird flu shots for their goon class. Upgrades. They're still doing upgrades. This is a 6-month process. Apparently, it's not just 2 weeks worth of goons. They got 6 months of goons to vaccinate. We'll call it vacuate from now on. It's the blues. It's vibrational medicine that makes no sense, makes the body just work to reject. Your whole life you're rejecting. What would you want to come and do that for? And your body just sits there and rejects. Ill suggestions, poisons, hearsay, misinformation, deception, fucking false allegation, authority. I'm not saying the M word. Don't tell me it's the S. This is not sustainable practice, remember. None of this is sustainable practice. The tampering that can be done once you surrender to the digital identity is not less than the tampering that can be done in potential with a paper ballot and your community at it. Remember, scamming elections, they just pick some broad, throw her up, accuse all election staff for all eternity of being corrupt little fuckheads. How dare you? But that's you, buddy. You give as much credit as you deserve, and you give none. So anyway, they're attacking the hell out of our elections, people, instead of admitting to a sham election. We're sitting here watching Romania go, why even bother? At least you get the rhetorical break, guys. Like, do you understand the value of that? We're sorry we haven't been to your country sooner. We thought we'd have this whole thing organized by now through the United Nations and all sorts of good stuff. We really want to apologize and feel the pain that y'all are going through. Our prisoners, our poverty-stricken, our falsely accused. Fast-tracking illegal immigrants is all they're doing. Fast-tracking fucking guys that thought they'd buy their way in the country. Or were invited to, as these globalists executed this ultimate fail. No thank you. 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 Painful. Can we at least relax for the weekend? Do any of you go off to your dwelling places? At least. Anyway. The tendency of Hollywood that is most dangerous is its willingness to wrap its lips around anything. That's very dangerous practice. That's why they're in so much ruin. The spirits that were thriving, thirsting off all of that, they're just like, they can't get access to it. Imagine just surmising that trafficking might be going on for how many years has it been now? 5 since we saw the fucking boats of kids come out of the harbor and heard the whispers about this happening at the Super Bowl and the fucking Disneyland and stuff. And then there was this whole Trump's gonna fix it bullshit that you guys are going through yet again. I don't know why you're so willing to, what do you call it? Refuse to admit that you're being pandered to. But those kids now for 10 years, and you're like, oh no, if you knew the truth. Well, some of you said at one time, I can justify killing a kid for this reason. And it wasn't just some nut that went crazy in our neighborhood, making a whole cartel out of this. That's the allegation. And we're like, why are we employing a police state, a military, and a fucking security system if none of this is getting corrected? Why are we employing journalists and television stations and all that shit when none of this is getting reported properly to the citizens? I think they underestimated the taxpayers' role in all of this. And to abuse us so harshly and smack us again, choke us with your dicks, and do all sorts of gross and crazy shit. Remember the generation before mine, the men were embarrassed to be tied down. Then it was free sex. Then it was fucking disgusting sex. And then it was perversion till no sex, like the poor kids are dealing with now. Imagine walking into the world, trying to jump on Twitter. Don't have any followers, you just got your newsfeed. And you saw that. It's not about us. It's always about the kids with these guys. These guys are obsessed with young humans because they're obsessed with the craft of shaping and grooming and influencing and suggestive leadership. And what I mean by leadership, I mean control. I don't mean leadership. There is no leadership. There is no control. There is no authority. These are not real words. They aren't, I promise. Check it out. Do they resonate? No. Check it out in the history books. Ask me anything. What do you need to know, kids? Call me, find me, hit me up on Facebook. It's the only one that I haven't been kicked off. Anyway, I only came on it to see it with my family and friends, and then just got assaulted like that. Oh, I'm faking accounts next. Oh, everything is a bot now, and it's all hateful. Oh, now we're going into the deliberately directed recommends lists. And now we're shrinking the rest of it into oblivion. You're all by yourself in a room with a dot and you don't even know it. You're talking to AI, my friend. That's what was attempted behind the COVID. And we just destroyed that math where you would be talking directly to AI, not even a human. And you would be getting all your lovins and rubbins and tuggins done. I can be a companion to you. No, you can't. You cannot be a companion to my ass because you don't know enough talent. You don't have enough talent. You don't have an accurate depiction of history. You have a fucking crazy agenda. Anyway, you've got everybody working at different levels, doing different things for you, knowing different degrees of reality, and that is just so harmful and dangerous. You fucked up with the vaxes. It's a 100-year-old fact that we're dealing within a vibrational reality here, and it has myriad resonant frequencies. Each can be examined, identified, and manipulated. There, we can keep that word, but not in the way that it's been described. To manipulate something means to massage it. I don't even want to keep that one. It's ugly too. It's just been uglified. The idea of authority came about before the Greeks, but It was always considered like the worst case scenario. Common knowledge was anyone seeking authority is trouble. That was common knowledge before the Greeks, guys. And we're sitting here going, more of this horror? It's just do it, man. Just present the outcome. Right now, you're just scurrying, sweaty, little ravenous, nipple chomping rats. And the noise of it is just not registering. I'm not going to say it's brutal, it's just not registering. People are going on with it. People are trusting their families and they're trusting what we taught them. Be silent, don't react, and maneuver around it. Go through it. Can't go over it, can't go under it, can't go around it, gotta go through it. Oh my God, am I going to get a UMG strike for that? Are we allowed to share what we used to fucking pass through the communities on this thing? Gotta go through it. We do in this case have the opportunity, yes, because we can easily keep it paid out. For me, I take my $2 quadrillion, my first $2 quadrillion, and I step out for a second. I tighten myself up slightly and go. I need to go to places to assess the situation. And through that part, I also become conscious of the Social Security network, and in Canada, the welfare network. And then I take stock of the homeless. I want to be doing this as I go to other places so we can build fast and make the connections that we need to once I empower these guys at home. Most of them have talent to head out and help solve those problems. So as I'm getting to know what's owed to Social Security, what's owed to the CRA and IRS, what's owed to the credit cards, and the homeless without funds at all, what they need, and take the welfare amounts and the disability amounts and the old age pension amounts and pay them. Now, that's going to cause a little disruption in the economy that is bred on investment at an interest rate arbitrarily. And the best part for these guys is since they tried to install the income generator and mandate in the digital economy, and they lost that opportunity, they have reset the whole interest rate and everything like that. So they have their copy of the reset sheet. So though they have no more debt collection administration channels, tax bucks still fund those channels. So everybody in those channels will get a dignified relief. Shame on you for agreeing to debt collect. That's not a nice career path, and you fucked up when you chose it. So anyway, I'm going to pay off first the homeless situation, $55,000 a year for 5 years. Take down welfare and disability and senior checks. Then I'm going to take down personal MasterCard and Visa debt. Then I'm going to hit the CRA and IRS. Now that should take about $300 trillion to pull off. We got to take another $300 trillion and invest it in the training, because I know that's going to come at a high cost. We have to get all of the training back from everyone in the know that's willing to train. People we're sobering up, accommodating. You think the homeless are going to want stuff? No, they're going to want to build. And we've got clear cuts with their names on them. So anyway, while they're rebuilding and learning all this new know-how, we don't need your fucking high-class bullshit tech that you think you own, you three fucking nutcases. We need basic infrastructure models. The ones you chucked out one night when you started going blue with everything. Now, the fact is you did chuck out a good infrastructure model. So before we render it obsolete, can we at least take it here? The poverty-stricken will go help the poverty-stricken and give them training. tickety-boo time with the investment infrastructure. The tax dollar has to keep rolling, but everybody's going to get a little boost because all of a sudden they're debt-free. Everybody's going to be debt-free because once those are done, when I go for the CRA and the IRS, that's when we can make debt-free available to the common people. And I want to do this fast because I've got the first set of 300 trillion to establish a solid base here before we can address some of the debt elsewhere. But with that final 313 trillion, I wipe out the world debt. Now we have to get the countries ready for that because they're not going to know what to do with a surplus like that. They forgot how ideas occur to them. We've been so abused. Ideas are not occurring to them very fast. This class, when they are ready to go debt-free, we lose another huge federal infrastructure over it. But we don't have to. We keep paying them out, just like the prisons and hospitals. Sure, they don't run at a profit anymore, and doctors are going to have to scrounge for bucks. That's their choice. They made the wrong fucking project. All that infrastructure is going to lose its front end, let's just call it. The debt management infrastructure won't have customers anymore. The hospitals, the police stations aren't going to have customers anymore eventually because everything they do is demented at this point. So we take that GDP back slowly, but they're still on their projects. They're still building. They can still go to space. They spend their dollars, use their jet fuel. Oh God, if that thing's circling the earth, this is so much obnoxious bullshit. So if you got these things circling the earth, the amount of carbon they're creating, why can't you just wait till we have the permission to get the gravity vibration so we actually can go anti-gravity safely? How can you do that to the carbon? Why are we doing all of this if you guys have a carbon appetite that has rendered everything that we paid for redundant? We haven't been able to catch up with your carbon appetite, you who are reporting this climate hoax. Now, you're a person, you're a place, you're a thing. All of those things are registerable. You're not hiding. You're not, just because you think you can maintain your own digital identity and do your own thing through your own private wallets, as if you're not using private wallets by this point. You've just surrendered to Google, Microsoft, and Meta over it. But they aren't private. They're authorized private wallets, verified. And that is not a good look for you because they make you vulnerable. And that's why we see so many attacks going on within Bitcoin because it's not stable. Quantum is not stable as a security fucking tool. Like, are you fucked? You must be absolutely out of your goddamn cocksucker. Man, this is sick. So, we've got the homeless recovered, building their own houses, and then they're going to gain that knowledge by hiring contractors, working with them on the job site because they'll want to know because they know there's more projects coming and 55,000 for 5 years is not enough. Once we finally get everybody the debt paid off, the worldwide debt just cleared up, and those infrastructures, we'll buy them out. We'll do what you've done to every worker ever since. Severance. You can get severance out of me if you want. I've got enough. And why not take on the US-Canada project at once? And then do the world debt from there. And I hope you have included all the social debts that happen within the country in that figure. If not, we're taking another 300 trillion from the second quadrillion and paying for that. So with the second quadrillion, it's about two types of infrastructure development. Communications infrastructure is very fundamental, and restoration infrastructure is the new model that's about to happen. There's so much we can build, especially now that we go to near space and underwater and all sorts of shit. Because you kids will all reconcile that and see what these guys have been up to because we'll make their records visible finally once they panic off and continue on the die. The restoration infrastructure is It's going to be beautiful. And we can build all sorts of things. That'll happen. And I won't get into too much of that. But the other one will go to technology sharing infrastructure. I'll buy off the United Nations. We'll get wisdom councils going. We'll bring the best of people forward, get them on the court. And from now, juries are going to be mostly looking in on transactions. And with the education system being part of this new infrastructure, this training infrastructure that we're developing, sharing resource, creating new education models where kids have access to more than one option within a lifetime and can become versed in several or many topics if they wish. The 1-300 track first goes to the restoration, second goes to technological sharing, so that we can get into the development. And that is what the third 3,000 was going to do. Take that empowered and re-educated poverty class and move them outward onto all the projects that are needed. So by erasing the world debt, there's not going to be the impetus on people to anything. But we're going to have to come up with newer models and different materials and stuff if we want to meet the demand of that sort of thing. But if you want to talk synthetic, let's get into it. We can take all that plastic and turn them into synthetics, and eventually that'll happen. So then I can top up my reset sheet with another 2 quadrillion. And the fields are in the trillions, and then the total is in the quadrillions. So with the fields being in the trillions, I can only get like up to a certain amount of quadrillion, but that's okay. Because with the second, third, and fourth quadrillion, what we can do is, that's the cleanup part. We'll need to be gathering raw materials. And by then, part of the Technology and Training Institute is the practice of vibrational medicine, energy, all sorts of stuff. So, like, we'd have to do a huge research project to unearth what technologies have been covered up. We'd have to do a huge expose on the communications network going on within the internet, the militarized communications network. Oh, we have so much to do. And for 40 years, I got 40 years left. I could definitely handle this. And just do all of it. If you want a couple cities with AI, if you want them to do 25-minute travel all of a sudden, you can do that. But you can't just circle the globe like you did with the satellites. Just dangling, not much. Super satellite. Blue. Dangling, stretching, manipulating. That's what you do with the oxygen molecule, isn't it? Now, you probably don't use it to make fresh water. You seem to have such a hate on for that. So anyway, gradually, in a limitless economy, the best thing is that it's in a legal person and the person's very rational. But in a digital economy, eventually everybody, not just a basic income, has whatever they need for whatever project they can envision. You want to create, you have the skills to organize a $1 trillion project, you get $1 trillion. Maybe your dream is to, which problem do you want to solve? There's so much to do for these kids. It's all going to be so fascinating. You check this project. You have enough vision to say, I'll do that one. I'll take on a team and I'll hire someone and I'll make sure they're all trained up. You can have your millions. And there's just ways to do the rest. Like I said, that part will come if we still fund this whole commercial project that's happening post-industrial, then we can decide how to get more participants at this fine level of the project. How can we And then I'll welcome input, because that's kind of where I'm at and what could come next. So we need to then transition everybody that's still dependent on the for-profit system to the new reality of total abundance. So by then we're going to want to have the museums, like the beautiful art that we can create. We're going to want to have the museums in place that can house the history of products. And there's so much to feature in this new realm, so that people can come and experience them and create them for themselves. 3D printing. Like, the thing is you don't have to have factories making tons of it for everyone. When people are interested in something, they can make a synthetic mock-up. Synthetics aren't exactly dangerous. They're just modes of consciousness. They interact with the consciousness. Synthetics don't react with the body. That's why poisoning is not an outcome. Death by poisoning cannot happen, because the body can't recognize foreign elements. You can batter us with it. Certainly, it's just like getting feather whipped and grape fed your whole life. Hope, hope, hope. Stop. Stop, for fuck's sakes. You sound like a retard. I mean, an idiot. I don't know why I said that. I never do. It's not a word I use. But there has been cultures that not kill their kids, but discard the disabled, differently abled. And it's a metaphor for their understanding at the time that meant something was way off. So if someone came in disabled, they had committed crimes in a past life. And that's why you come in disabled. So you can relearn to be totally dependent on people. You're also bringing in disabled people right now that were highly traumatized. Remember, we just went through a rolling genocide. So ultimately, the people coming in that aren't even getting home, they're just being smacked right back in, traumatized. They are also potentially highly disfigured. But beyond that, most of it is the vaxes their mothers got or the vaxes their babies got. Sorry, I didn't say they weren't safe and effective. But I'm just saying we can't distinguish the two anymore, because you universalized one model, and then we can't distinguish its effect on this bullshit. My poor mother crying again today because she can't take what's going on in Gaza and the Ukraine. And it's not like we think, you're not running militants or it's not a big laundering scam by this point. It's that people are there and they were doing things. They had adopted the Canadian model for themselves. Do you know how fucking special that is? They used what we gave them. Come on, Ukraine, you can come too. Do it like this. Try that. All right, seems to be working. We're going to do this. We've got assets. It's not that we have assets. It's that part of sharing technology means creating more resource. It's not that oil may or may not be limitless. It's limitless, because we can create resource. It's not about resource abundance and what resources you have. It's about the structure with which you handle your project development. Good Lord, man. It's so simple. And this is such a betrayal of conscious effort. Yes, the world was praying for Canada at the time. Oh, I see the Indigenous residential schools thing happen here. Did it? It's news to my ass, except for these natives told me before you ever fucking brought it up. So why'd you do that? What were you doing? Where were you hiding? In the churches? What were you doing? Pretending? How were you doing that? And why? Why were you just feeding off those people? Little guys. You were little guys back then. Regional monsters. Man, I'd never seen Megalomania, but I have enjoyed it. Yeah, no, I do enjoy the Megalomaniacs. No, I don't. A megalomaniac in real life? Oh, what would we do with a situation like that as a globe? A dust spiral, guys. It's a dust spiral. Let's relax. We need to understand this place for a minute, and you can't get to that unless you ask. Can I understand this place, God? Yes. Can I understand it again? Can I have it some more? Yes. Can you guide me? Yes. Is that my soul's question? Yes. Right about now? Yes. Why? Because everything is ignorance, and you got to come out of that. So it's a good question to ask. Didn't it occur to any of you? For me, it was obvious. Wait, what's going on? You keep trying to lead me in social directions. Okay, well, what's really going on here? Didn't you guys say that? It's not that enticing. When you look at the crumbling infrastructure of what's left of our country, all these old practices that the blue has nothing to do with have just sat in stasis for a century over it. Like we couldn't have just taken that obsolete bullshit and taken it somewhere else. You got this constant digging at the same wiring. Oh, I got to upgrade the wiring again. And then to fail, to have geofenced bioenergetics. Geofence wherever you need it. Excuse me, that's full of problems. And it's not safe and effective. It's high risk. It is absolutely corruptible. It's crooked as shit. Why are we going to do that? We're going to install what? Petty gangsterism? Well, then go to prison. Because petty gangsters go to prison in this shit. The mafia. Are you fucking kidding to be touting the mafia right now? Do you know what you did to those men? Stasis. All of them. Sitting there rotting. Totally holding decorum. Because they're so advanced by this point. After such an experiment. The mafia wishes to tell you to fuck off. That's what the mafia bosses from a... Let's see if I can channel any of them. 1970? 65? That was quite a year for marijuana. You fucking abused the shit out of them that time. Okay, let's look at 92, 93. The betrayal again. You totally fucking got like a whole generation of them. Okay, let's look at... Okay, fine, 29. Where America had its heyday. They were so bought and sold by the government. They're embarrassed. They wish to say, we regret that mistake. We got way too big for ourselves, and they accused us of self-imploding yet again. So they actually framed, like the Banditos, the red scorpions, and the outlaws. They did the Al Capone government. Okay, you want to know who did JFK? Let's see. Was he one of them? That's the question everybody wants to know. Did he betray our soul? He's like a Putin. Plays along to his detriment. And he's sorry. What else? JFK. He has forgiveness. It's the man. Yeah. It's the tape we just heard. Yeah, he did it. He's so disappointed. He lost so much time with the things he loved. He really wasn't prepared for that, he says. One more. Come on, you can do it. He's thinking. He brought flowers for his wife up for a sec, and he's being, okay, you can have 2 more if you want. Now he's a really good kid. He's tapping my shoulder, whispering it. He does want me to deliver his wife flowers. And for the people, the military was his greatest source of pride because he knew they were de-escalators. And he says, please get back to that. He didn't chastise you for falling off. But he said, please get back to that. No, it's nice to see you, sir. It's really nice to be here. Sorry it took me so long. He says, I'm sorry too. Do you want to strategize for a minute about how to get past this part? Yes. He's going to take it away and contemplate it. So I can come back and see you again? He's like, he's already gone. He ran. He's running back and forth. He's happy as shit. That was the right question. Soul's looking for new projects. Everybody's so disoriented. That is a huge bubble, a huge bulbous ring in the Earth's spectrum. The Earth's gorgeous, harmonious spectrum. Everything speaking for itself, every resonance identified, everything maximized in its usage. And this thing is just a boing when a guppy dies. Oof, we're sorry. We don't want to do that to animals anymore. We want to be, how do we handle the animals? We don't handle the animals. We create as much wild space as we can. And share the space. And we don't tag them. We don't put electromagnetic resonance in them or on them. I know you really want to be vexing the pets just as much. You've got equally implausible stories about all of that. You're totally in the realm of the phenomenal, and none of what you say can be proven philosophically or scientifically at that. Wouldn't it be grand if humans got access to genetics? Oh yeah, in your own deluded head. Good, yeah, sure you did. What are you looking at? Will you share the information that you're consuming to get to that place? Because all of us are forcibly invested in this at high rates of interest. Yes, doctors, I'm talking to your asses. We need you to make transparent allopathic medicine so the critics can properly analyze that. And we can find valid experiments that might be missing. Because you're only repeating steps. Repetition. All of allopathic medicine is based on repetitive practice. Nonsensical repetitive practice. Nobody's saying the idea of responding to an emergency isn't noble. If you choose to do that work for some time, why should you ever get to do that work for more than 5 years? You could become lazy. You could become crooked. You could become corrupt and try and fucking make people sick to fill your beds. You could become malpracticing, and then just clears off so many psychopaths when you get 5-year maximums on that sort of shit. And when we're finally in a world where every year we have 5 different opportunities: leisure, spiritual, educational, work, environmental. The 5th is miscellaneous. I would want a second work project this year. I love work. Work is so good. I love education too. I might take a training project this year. Or I could just hit a Ibiza for some practice with some of the new art tools. Yeah, Vegas, Ibiza, these are sacred ritual places now. They have the best resonance for it. Look at all the silent people. Now you're picking at Romania. Why are you picking at Romania? What do you need from them? Oh, yoink, no election. Oh, it was the Romanian government. Sure it was. Sure it was. It's a bunch of bought and paid off politicians yet again. like I said, I'm going to pay off as many of you to retire early as is needed because I have way more cash. And I know how to delicately introduce amounts into the economy so that we don't run out of paper printing the money. And we're not touching any of this business that's in the status quo. It's not going to throw off inflation. It's not going to make bread more expensive. It's not going to make the working class. Nope, you're all doing that. That's your project. That is your project. You like repetitive labor at a price, and you need your grocery stores. This part is going to be so hard because, and another thing is while these people are building their projects and their projects are generating money, because they're well funded, everybody gets paid as well and can still engage in the market. So there's going to be more people in the market, but not by much, just by the poverty stricken. And we can manage the entry of everyone into the market at this point. They can go into the status quo and buy products and look at investing. We can just invest in certain projects we want to bloom and blossom, catch certain farming and agricultural projects that are being targeted. And that fourth quadrillion is when I buy out your BlackRock, your fucking Vanguard, and your State Farm. Everybody notice something interesting? The insurance companies are never mentioned for their role. That is where the laundering goes on. Anyway, they have threatened and they have succeeded in targeting a few innocents, and that is just a precursor of what they intend to come, because they know how corruptible the system is, and because they've created a savage class of sociopaths through the gaming, they're just dying to get it done. So let's see what happens. But because I have 2 quadrillion digital dollars in my bank account, and because that can so easily be converted into cash through the Canadian Mint, it's just an extenuating circumstance. I'd have to buy a mint with the cash once it got an account number on it, or make my own mint. I can't print money though. It can be United Nations money. No, it has to be Canadian. It has to be Canadian so that we don't rock the boat, so that we introduce it gradually and safely. You don't want to have a limitless economy that you just all at once, because it'd be overwhelming. It would overwhelm a very closed and overwhelmed system. The ravenous look they used to get on their faces when they knew damn well they were creating stretches, swaths of arbitrary jobs. The way their gears got turned into, where could we take this potentially? How could we nth degree this? Nobody should have to stomach that. I'm the only one that probably took it as an impact to the gut. And to the rest of you that might have been with me and I just haven't met you yet, good job. You are a champion for saying, yeah, come on, I'll go down for a crew of genocidal maniacs that's most likely to fuck me up on contact. Yeesh, get through. And thank God for the Masons for protecting so many from the vax. The Masonic legacy is only that. They protected people from the vax. They did. Committed double-crossing acts at all levels to make sure those kids got through that shit as safely for as long as they could. They're heroes. They have perpetuated untold amounts of consciousness and protected, reoriented the energy grids, did everything they had to. And it was absolutely magnificent to witness it directly. Nobody's going to take that from me. Who was I imitating there? To witness it directly. Who is that? Oh, I can't even. Who was it? I'll have to think of it. Anyway, it's one of you. Okay, it's already an hour. That was so much fun. It gives me so much comfort to talk to you. But we're mourning the loss still. This is a vigil. As they keep mucking away at the borders and trying to get it less and less screwball, as they secretly, covertly meet in their groups, employing millions in the art of betrayal, treason, deception, hubris. Let's just celebrate the potential of reality, because that proves it's limitless. So these guys shut down the world to do anti-gravity, to exploit these vibrations right out in person, blocking out the sun, poisoning everything, injecting the babies, raping the women, devouring the children. Like, what aren't they doing? What is that? It's not a human concept. None of it is human. So Gord and I might be back in, say, 450 years of human history. We might enjoy a little time in the cosmos till then, and come back with a whole bunch of genetic material with us, and show you how to disperse them. That's what we'll do next. In this case, we just had to learn to listen. And that's why we came right now with the genetic access. Okay, I'll do Charles Manson. All right, Charles. Let's go. Let's channel. And then I'll do Sri Chinmoy. And then I'll do Diana. Okay, Charles Manson. Little blips, guys. He's relieved to be able to feel his broken heart, because he never let you have that from him. You never let him have his broken heart, so he's relieved to be crying right now. Next one. We're sorry. I wish I'd have known as a kid. I would have stopped it immediately. And every single one of them with you, going through that innocent persecution. Yeah, okay, Opaqueness. Next, Diana. She's still pissed. She's come to me with this one before. She's sorry you lost the love of your life. She's sorry I lost the love of my life. She lost hers out of it. And they're together. And that's all she wants, because she knows how relevant I am as a queen, an oligarch myself. All right, next. Anything else, Diana? She misses her boys. She wants them to relinquish the royal bullshit and be humanists. She wants to wear a dress again and feel glamorous. She wants that for everyone. She's sorry if she ever got used. And she has regret for not getting more accomplished. And she accepts. How does she like the wives? Defeat. Disappointment. She couldn't influence any of that. And now Sri Chinmoy, my favorite. He's melded with the Buddha. He's kicking back, relaxing, eating fruit. Yeah, he's in a very high vibrational reality. Kind you don't get invited to because the bouncer thinks you're hip. What next? Sri Chinmoy. He He likes my idea. Do you like my idea of making your work a public asset through the Daghammer School Museum? He said, whose idea? Okay. That is it most likeliness again? Yes, it's most likely the best course of action. He's just flooding my heart right now. Are you coming back, sir? No, he's enjoying his soul bird. He's enjoying guiding his soul birds. Where's Sri Aurobindo? Where is Sri Aurobindo? He's praying over India. Yeah, he's sending a lot of energy to India right now. So disappointed that not more was done. He's a lot like you, he says. So you really get to kick back and watch your soul birds in action? Is there anything I can do? He says, you bet, I'm proud of you. Is there anything I can do for them from my position? Connect with them like I always do. Well, that was a lovely little adventure. Charles, yes, one more from you. Show the world what a scruffy little guy I really was, Sarah. Now be good. Show them how, you know how much I loved it here. And you know how much I tried with everything I was worth to stoke a positive conversation, to explore and organize. Make sure they know that. I do. Can you say it again, please, sir? You are such a model citizen and totally cool dude. Okay. Let them know how easy I was with life. And remind them of me without the edges of that kind, after that kind of abuse. Surely, sir, you sweetheart. I just love your heart, sir. You're welcome. That's channeling. If you're a death midwife, if you can actually connect with souls of the recent departed. JFK, anything else? He's working on a map of where the most in jeopardy are. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was quick. Thanks for getting back to me so soon. That's excellent. Such a blessing. Do I keep that part private? Yeah. And I can also read intentions too. So you would just have to be good at telepathic communication. Open communication, let's call it, instead of open AI. Wow. Why does it have to come at a cost? What are the vibrational realities involved in it? Like, list your ingredients. You still have to list your ingredients, list your sources. Never mind your relevance. What do you need from us to function AI? All of it. Okay? Full report. Even if you don't give me my cash, Love you lots. Thanks for listening.